Hello students. Now in this video, I will take you through the steps in how you inscribe regular polygons within a circle. Now this particular method, we can consider it as a universal method simply because it allows us to construct any regular polygon. All right, so we can obtain any regular polygon using this particular method. All right, so the polygon that we'll be focusing on is the pentagon. And we know a pentagon has 5 sides. All right, and within a regular pentagon, each angle is equal to 108 degrees. All right, each angle is equal to 108 degrees. Now the information given here, of course, is the pentagon that we will be, the polygon that we will be constructing, and the diameter of the circle that we have to inscribe it into. So the diameter here is 60. So the first thing we would have to do is to obtain that circle. All right, so the diameter is 60. So we'll open the pair of compasses to 30. All right, so we open that to 30 and we draw our circle. All right, we draw our circle. Now, while we there, what we would want to do next is to draw the diameter of the circle. All right, so we draw the diameter of the circle. Now, for me, I will insert a little dot so that I would know that's the center of the circle. It's not that important in this case, but I would just, mark that just in case. Also, I will label A and I label this part X. I know we are accustomed to AB, but I wouldn't label this AB, and you would see why as we go on. Good. Now, our next step is that we have to divide AX, which is the diameter of the circle, into equal parts. Now, the amount of equal parts is dependent on the amount of sides that the shape that we're constructing has. So in this case, it's a pentagon. So we have to divide this line AX into 5 equal parts. Now, in doing that, we simply need to take the ruler and draw a line from A coming downwards at any length and any angle, right? So from A, we simply draw a line coming downwards. Now on that line, we mark off equal parts. All right, so we mark off equal parts on that line. There is no specific measurement for those equal parts. However, whatever you use for the first, you have to use for all of them. So we'll mark off 5 equal parts. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that one almost touched the circumference of the circle. All right, so we mark off 5 equal parts. And to remind you, we mark off 5 because we are constructing a pentagon which has 5 sides. So if we were constructing an octagon which has 8 sides, then we had to mark off 8 equal parts. All right, so I don't want persons to be confused there. So we only use in 5 because a pentagon has 5 sides. Of course, it's important that we number, right? It's important that we number and label and so on, so that while we're working, we would know exactly which point we're referring to and those things. Good. So after we finish this, from the last division, which is number 5, and point a note, when I say 5, I don't mean the actual number 5. The point where the 5th arc intersect the line, right? That point we would call 5. So from there, we draw a line to X. Right, from there, we draw a line to X. So there are some cases where the last division would end up till outside of the circle. Nothing is wrong with that. Wherever the last division is, you draw the line from that point to X. All right. Now, what we need to do next, we need to obtain parallel lines. Now, these parallel lines will come from each of the divisions like that, and so on. However, we are not required to have all of them. All right, we're not required to have all of them. So the most important one would be from number 2. Right, the most important one would be from number 2. So what I'll do, I'll take a little shortcut here. I would obtain that parallel line only from 2. So after I finish aligning my instruments, right, I place this set square on the line, and then I place another rule at the bottom of the set square. I slide to go to 2. Right, that is a method in which we obtain parallel lines. So from 2, I draw the line to the AX line. All right, so only those 2 we'll be working with. Right, we don't need another one from 3, we don't need one from 4, neither from 1. We only need the one from 2. And that goes for any of the polygons that we'll be constructing. Right, we always use the one from 2. Good. Now the next step will be to use the entire length from A to X. Right, use the entire length from A to X and scribe arcs downwards like that. All right, so we go from A first, and then we go from X, and we do the same thing. Draw arc downwards. Now where those 2 arcs intersect, right, we use that point to draw a line to come through this point where the parallel line from 2 touches the AX line. And again, that is the most important point that we will be using in this case. That is why we do not need anyone from 3, neither 4, right? So from this intersection at the bottom, we draw a line straight through that intersection of the line that goes from 2 to AX. Where that intersect, you draw a line straight through that point. All right, so take note of those specifications. All right, we're not using any other point. Good. Now, naturally, what that did is that it gave us the length of one side of the pentagon. So from A to that point is the length of one side of the pentagon. So it is safe now. What we can do is take the measurement of that side and transfer it around the circle. That would give us the other sides. Remember, it's a regular polygon, which means that all the sides must be equal. All right, so when you're going around, you mark an arc on the circle like that. Then you go on that arc, you mark another. All right, and then from there, you come on that one and you mark another. All right, you mark another point. Good. So when we finish, all we need to do is draw in our sides to each of those points where the arcs intersect the circle. All right, and that should give us our pentagon. Now, point to note, and I'm sure you can see this. The last side is shorter than the others. That is because something was not done accurately when I was executing the steps. So it means that when you are constructing this, you have to ensure that everything is done correctly, right? Everything must be done accurately, or else you will end up with similar problems like this. All right, so pay attention to that when you are completing or when you're doing this construction. All right, so basically that's the step. Those are the steps in how we construct, how we inscribe rather, a regular polygon, and in this case, a pentagon within a circle. Now, as I mentioned before, the only difference here is that this pentagon, it required us to mark off 5 equal parts on this line. If we were doing a hexagon, we would have marked, or we had to mark 6 parts on this line. And then from the 6th division, we draw a line to X and then slide go to 2. All right, so the only difference is the amount of divisions you mark on this line in relation to the other types of polygons that you would want to construct. All right, so that's it for this video. I do hope it would have helped you and that now you better understand how to do this construction. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.